Last Tuesday, I ate a full, beautiful, healthy lunch in 4 minutes. I didn't turn on the stove, I didn't turn on the oven, I didn't even take a pan out of the cabinet. And when I sat down to eat it, on my porch with the sun coming through the window, I realized something that made me a little sad and a little angry at the same time. For years, I had been making lunch the hard way, standing at the stove for half an hour, washing 3 pans afterward, telling myself this was what a proper meal looked like. And it was slowly stealing my energy, my afternoons, and honestly, some of the joy out of eating at this stage of my life. Let me ask you something, and please be honest with yourself. How many times this week did you open the refrigerator around noon, stand there for a full minute looking inside, and just close the door because the idea of cooking felt heavier than the hunger itself? If that's you, you are not alone, not even close. A study from the American Geriatric Society found that nearly 1 in 3 adults over 60 living alone skips lunch regularly, not because they're not hungry, but because cooking for one person feels pointless and exhausting. 1 in 3. That's not laziness, that's the reality of this chapter of life.
And here's the truth nobody tells you. The truth I wish someone had told me 10 years ago. You do not have to cook to eat well. In fact, after 60, the smartest thing you can do for your body, your wallet, and your energy is to stop cooking lunch altogether. Today, I'm going to show you 7 delicious no-cook lunches. Each one takes under 10 minutes. Each one is gentle on your body. Each one costs less than what you'd spend on a sad takeout sandwich. And by the end of this video, you will never feel guilty about an easy lunch again. Now, stay with me until recipe number 7, because that one is the lunch I make for myself almost every single week. It saves me money, it saves me time, and the very first time my doctor saw what was in it, she asked me for the recipe. That's the one I want you to wait for. So, grab a cup of tea, get comfortable in your favorite chair, and let's begin.
Before we touch a single ingredient, I need to tell you something that took me years to understand. And I'm going to say it plainly, because you and I don't have time for nonsense at this point in our lives. Cooking less after 60 is not lazy. Cooking less after 60 might actually save your life. I know that sounds dramatic. Stay with me. The Mayo Clinic reported that falls in the kitchen are the second leading cause of hip fractures in adults over 65. Hot stove, slippery floor, tired legs after standing too long, a moment of dizziness from the heat, and a life can change in 1 second. I lost a dear friend's mother that exact way. She was making soup. So when I tell you no cook is smart, I don't mean it as a shortcut. I mean it as protection. And here's the second thing, and this one will surprise you. Raw, fresh ingredients contain more usable nutrition than the same food cooked. Heat destroys up to 50% of the vitamin C in vegetables. It kills enzymes that help your digestion. It oxidizes the good oils. When you put together a no-cook lunch, you're not cutting corners. You're getting a more nutrient-dense meal than the one your stove would have produced. Third, and let me ask you this directly, when was the last time you washed 3 pans and felt grateful? No cook means 1 plate, 1 knife, maybe 1 bowl. You eat, you rinse, you're done. Your afternoon belongs to you again. So please, stop apologizing for wanting easy. Easy is wise. Easy is how women over 60 take care of themselves without burning out. Now, let's eat. Our first recipe is one I learned years ago from a friend who lived for 2 years in a tiny village in Greece. She told me the women there in their 70s and 80s eat this almost every day, and she swore that's why they look 20 years younger than they are. Here's what you need. 1 can of tuna in olive oil, drained, a handful of cherry tomatoes, cut in half, a few black olives, Kalamata if you can find them, a little crumbled feta cheese, a splash of good olive oil, a squeeze of fresh lemon, salt, pepper, and a pinch of dried oregano. Here's how you make it. Open your can of tuna and flake it gently into a bowl. Add the tomatoes, the olives, the feta, drizzle with olive oil, Squeeze that lemon right over the top. Sprinkle the oregano, season with salt and pepper. Give it a gentle stir. That's it. 4 minutes. Done. But here's what I want you to really hear. This bowl is omega-3, healthy fats, calcium, and antioxidants, all in one plate. The omega-3 from the tuna is what doctors prescribe in pill form for $40 a bottle. You just got the same thing for under $3. Let me drop a number on you. A can of good tuna costs about $1.80. The fish oil supplements your doctor recommends? Around $40 a bottle. One bowl of this salad delivers more usable omega-3 than 3 of those capsules. You are not saving on lunch. You are saving on your pharmacy bill. I love eating this on my porch with a glass of cold water and lemon. It makes me feel like I'm on vacation, right in my own home. And my heart, my brain, and my bones all quietly say thank you.
Now, this next one is perfect for the days when you want something that feels like a real, proper lunch, but you have absolutely no energy. The secret weapon? The rotisserie chicken from the grocery store. Listen, and please don't argue with me on this one. That little chicken under the heat lamp is the single best friend of any woman over 60 living alone. Here's a fact most people don't know. Most grocery stores sell rotisserie chicken at a loss. It's actually cheaper than the raw chicken you'd buy to cook yourself. They use it to get you in the store. You should use it to feed yourself for 4 days. 1 chicken, 3 or 4 lunches, around $7 total. That's less than $2 per meal. Here's what you need. About a cup of shredded rotisserie chicken, 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, or Greek yogurt if you prefer, a small celery stalk finely chopped, a little chopped onion or green onion, a pinch of salt and pepper, 2 slices of whole grain bread, a leaf of lettuce.
Here's how you make it. In a bowl, mix your chicken with the mayo, celery, onion, salt, and pepper. Stir it up nice and creamy. Spread it generously on 1 slice of bread, top with lettuce, close the sandwich. Cut it in half because everything truly does taste better cut in half. And there you go. 6 minutes. Lunch is served. This sandwich gives you lean protein, which becomes critically important after 60. Here's something that will stop you in your tracks. After the age of 50, you lose roughly 1% of your muscle mass every single year if you don't eat enough protein. That's the difference between getting out of a chair easily at 75 and not being able to. This sandwich, twice a week, is part of how you fight that.
Now I'm going to recommend something that probably hasn't been on your kitchen table since 1985. Cottage cheese. I know. For our generation, cottage cheese is the diet food they put on a sad little leaf of iceberg lettuce at the doctor's office in the 1970s. We grew up rolling our eyes at it. But here's what I learned recently that completely changed my mind, and might change yours. A single cup of cottage cheese has more protein than 2 eggs, more calcium than a glass of milk, and more probiotics than most yogurts you'll find in the store. Bodybuilders eat it before bed because it digests slowly through the night. And for women over 60, that slow digesting protein is exactly what keeps your muscles from melting away while you sleep.
The food they were trying to feed us 50 years ago wasn't a punishment. It was a secret. We were just too young to know it. Pair it with avocado on a piece of warm toast, and you have a lunch that will keep you full until dinner. Truly full. Not, I'm hungry again in 90 minutes full. Here's what you need. 1 slice of whole grain or sourdough bread, half a ripe avocado, a few tablespoons of cottage cheese, a pinch of sea salt, black pepper, a sprinkle of red pepper flakes if you like a tiny kick. Optional, a drizzle of honey or a few cherry tomatoes on top.
Here's how you make it. Toast your bread. Yes, a toaster counts. We are still no cook here. Mash your avocado right onto the warm toast with a fork. Spread it edge to edge. Don't be shy. Spoon the cottage cheese on top. Season with salt, pepper, those red pepper flakes if you're feeling adventurous. 5 minutes, 1 plate, done. Quick question for you. When was the last time you ate something at lunch that genuinely kept you full until dinner without snacking? If you can't remember, that's not your willpower. That's your lunch failing you. This toast fixes that. The avocado gives you healthy fats for your brain and your skin. The cottage cheese gives you slow protein. The whole grain gives you steady energy. I eat this 2 or 3 times a week, and it has never once gotten old.
Remember that rotisserie chicken from recipe number 2? Here's another way to stretch it, and this one feels fancy without being any work at all. Here's what you need: 1 whole wheat tortilla or wrap, about half a cup of shredded chicken, 2 tablespoons of plain Greek yogurt, a handful of chopped cucumber, a few cherry tomatoes, halved, a handful of fresh spinach or lettuce, a squeeze of lemon, salt, pepper, a pinch of garlic powder.
Here's how you make it. Lay your wrap flat on a plate. In a small bowl, mix your chicken with the Greek yogurt, lemon juice, garlic powder, salt, and pepper. Spread that creamy mixture down the center of your wrap. Top with cucumber, tomatoes, and your greens. Now, fold the sides in, then roll it up tight from the bottom. Cut it in half on a diagonal so it looks pretty. Lunch that looks like it came from a $14 cafe.
The Greek yogurt instead of mayo is a beautiful little trick. Fewer calories, twice the protein, and probiotics for your gut. And listen carefully because this matters. 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. After 60, when colds and flu can knock you down harder than they used to, feeding those good bacteria isn't a wellness trend, it's protection. Controversial opinion coming. Most healthy lunches sold at delis and cafes to women our age contain more sugar than a donut. Those sweet dressings, the glazed nuts, the dried cranberries, read the label sometime. You'll be horrified. This wrap, the one you just made for $2, is genuinely cleaner than the $14 wellness wrap at the deli down the street.
This next recipe is for the days when you want something light, something elegant, something that makes you feel like you're sitting at a tiny cafe on a side street in Florence. It has only 4 ingredients, but when you taste it, you'll understand why the Italians have been eating this for over 100 years and why they have one of the longest lifespans on Earth. Here's what you need: 2 or 3 ripe tomatoes, sliced, fresh mozzarella cheese, sliced, a handful of fresh basil leaves, good olive oil, a drizzle of balsamic vinegar, salt, and pepper. Here's how you make it. On a plate, and please use a pretty plate, not the everyday one, layer your tomato slices and mozzarella slices, alternating them. Tuck fresh basil leaves in between. Drizzle generously with olive oil, a little balsamic, salt and pepper. 4 minutes, and it looks like a painting. Here's a fact that should make every woman over 60 sit up. Tomatoes are the single best dietary source of lycopene, and lycopene has been shown in multiple studies to reduce the risk of stroke by up to 19% in adults over 60. 19%! From a vegetable you can buy for $2 a pound. We're talking about lunch. We are also talking about your brain in 10 years. The mozzarella is gentle protein and calcium. The basil is full of anti-inflammatory compounds that help with the achy joints we don't like to talk about. Serve this with a slice of crusty bread on the side, and I promise you, you will feel like a queen. Because you are one.
Now, we're getting into the recipes that feel like a treat. Because, honestly, at this point in your life, you have earned the right to feel a little spoiled at lunchtime, without apology. Here's what you need: 1 whole grain bagel, sliced and lightly toasted, a few tablespoons of cream cheese, regular or light, a few slices of smoked salmon, thin slices of red onion, a few capers, fresh dill if you have it, a squeeze of lemon. Here's how you make it. Toast your bagel until just lightly golden. Spread cream cheese on both halves. Be generous. Please don't be shy. Generous is the whole point. Layer the smoked salmon on top. Add a few thin rings of red onion. Scatter a few capers. Sprinkle with dill and squeeze a little lemon over the top. 5 minutes. Pure pleasure. Now, please listen carefully. Smoked salmon is one of the most powerful foods you can put in your body after 60. It's loaded with omega-3 fatty acids that protect your heart, keep your brain sharp, and reduce the inflammation that causes joint pain. Here's something your doctor might not have told you. A Harvard study followed over 2,600 adults aged 65 plus for 16 years and found that those who ate fatty fish like salmon at least twice a week had a 27% lower risk of dying from heart disease. 27% from eating a bagel like this twice a week. That's not lunch. That's medicine that happens to taste like a Sunday morning.
This is my Sunday lunch with a cup of tea. It feels special, and it should, because you are special. Not in a greeting card way, in a real way. You have lived a whole life. You deserve a lunch that honors it. And now, the one I told you to wait for. This is the lunch I eat almost every single week. It is the lunch my doctor asked me for the recipe of. It is the lunch that, more than any other on this list, has changed how I feel in my body day to day. It is beautiful. It is colorful. It costs around $4 total, and there is absolutely nothing to cook, nothing to mix, and almost nothing to clean. Here's what you need. A container of good hummus. Store-bought is perfect. Sabra, Cedars, whatever you like. A warm pita bread cut into wedges, baby carrots, cucumber slices, cherry tomatoes, bell pepper strips, a handful of olives, a small piece of feta cheese, a drizzle of olive oil.
Here's how you make it. Take a nice plate, a pretty one, the kind you usually save for company, because today, you are the company. Stop saving your beautiful things for other people. You are the most important guest your kitchen will ever serve. Spoon the hummus into the center and make a little well in the middle with the back of your spoon. Drizzle olive oil into that well so it pools like liquid gold. Arrange your vegetables around the hummus, carrots on one side, cucumbers on the other, tomatoes, peppers, olives, the feta. Make it look like a flower opening up. Tuck the pita wedges along the edge. 6 minutes, and it's the most satisfying lunch you'll have all week.
Here's why my doctor asked for the recipe. The hummus gives you plant protein and over 6 grams of fiber per serving, and 90% of women over 60 don't get enough fiber, which is one of the leading causes of the digestive problems that send them to her office. The vegetables give you vitamins, water, and antioxidants. The olive oil is genuine liquid medicine for your heart. The feta adds calcium for your bones. You eat it slowly with your fingers, dipping each piece into that creamy hummus. It's not just food. It is a small, daily, beautiful act of self-respect. And when you finish, you rinse the plate. That's it. No mess, no fuss, no exhaustion. Your afternoon is still yours.
Now, before you click away, and please don't click away yet, because this last part is the one that's actually going to change your life, not the recipes. This. I'm about to give you something that took me 3 years to figure out on my own. A single grocery list, around $30, that feeds you all 7 of these lunches for an entire week, with leftovers. Most women I talk to say the same thing. I'd love to eat better, but groceries are so expensive now. And I hear you. Eggs cost what a steak used to cost. But here's the secret that the food industry doesn't want you to know. Cooking less actually costs less. When you stop cooking, you stop buying the 17 ingredients that a recipe asks for and that go bad before you use them again. You stop throwing away $40 of wilted vegetables every 2 weeks. You buy a small number of high-quality, real foods, and you use every single bite. Here is the exact list. Take a screenshot of this if you need to. For your refrigerator, around $22. 1 rotisserie chicken, $7. 1 container of cottage cheese, $3. 1 container of plain Greek yogurt, $4. 1 container of good hummus, $4. 1 small block of feta, $4. For your fresh produce, around $12. Cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, bell peppers, baby carrots, 1 avocado, 1 lemon, fresh basil. 1 small package of smoked salmon if you want recipe number 6. Add $6. For your pantry, one-time purchase lasts months. Canned tuna in olive oil, a jar of Kalamata olives, whole grain bread, pita, wraps, a good olive oil, dried oregano.
Biggest one of the video. Let me ask you something hard.
How much did you spend on groceries last month that you ended up throwing away? For most women living alone over 60, that number is between $80 and $150 a month. That's $1,000 a year in the trash. The system I just gave you eliminates almost all of that waste. You're not just eating better, you are quietly putting $1,000 a year back in your own pocket. And here's my final tip, the one that ties everything together. Once a week, sit down with a cup of coffee and write your list before you go to the store. Never shop hungry, never shop without a list. When your kitchen is set up this way, you will never again stand in front of that refrigerator feeling helpless and tired at noon. You will open the door, you will smile, and you will eat like the woman you have always deserved to be.
So there you have it, my friend. 7 beautiful, healthy, 10-minute lunches with no cooking, no stress, and no exhaustion. Plus, a grocery list that saves you $1,000 a year and gives you back your afternoons. Now I want you to do something for me. Just one little thing. Pick one recipe from this list. Just one. Don't try to do all 7 this week. That's how good intentions die. Pick the one that made your mouth water the most when I described it. Write it down. Promise yourself you'll make it before Sunday. And then come back here and tell me in the comments, which one did you pick? Which one became your new favorite? I read every single comment, and honestly, those messages from you are the reason I keep making these videos. When you write to me, it feels like I'm not cooking alone in my kitchen anymore. We're doing it together. If this video helped you today, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help my little channel reach more women who need to hear this exact message. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the little bell, because next week I'm sharing 5-ingredient dinners for women living alone, including the one dish my late husband used to ask for every Friday night. You're going to want to be here for that one. Remember, you don't have to cook all day to eat well. You don't have to apologize for wanting easy. You don't have to save the pretty plates for company that may or may not come. You are the company now. You are the most important guest in your kitchen. Take care of you. Be kind to yourself the way you have always been kind to everyone else. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.